Man Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. This is an extra special edition of my Tool Time Gear Reviews where I review tools and or gear. And did I mention we are live streaming this? So if you're watching this live, welcome. Thank you very much for dropping by. This is awesome. Love doing these. And if you're one of the millions watching after the fact as a recording, thanks for taking the time to check this out. So, I got to share with you guys something that is really cool. Hey Joseph, thanks for dropping by. I guess my biggest pet peeve with YouTube tool reviewers is the fact that you absolutely know that they bought the tool, they went out in their garage, out in their yard, they cut 3 limbs with the pole saw we're going to talk about tonight. Then they went out and cut up a 4x4. They fell in love with the tool and they told you how great it was. They spent 20 minutes using it and they give you a full review on how great it is. And then that review is out there for an eternity, and everything that you've learned by watching their reviews is based on their 10 minutes of using it. They didn't use it in a business, they didn't use it in a job, they didn't make any money with it, they didn't break one of them. It's just absolutely based on their first impressions. So what I wanted to do was something a little bit different. I don't see a lot of these tool reviewers doing this. Who else we got in here? Hey Matt, I got to find a better way to do this. Anyway, one thing I don't see a lot of my tool reviewers doing out there is going back and reviewing products a year later. So what I decided was that once a month my live stream is going to be a 1 year later where we revisit a product that I talked about before. So we are going to take a trip back in time, guys, and thanks for joining me for this. All the way back to May 24th. Hey, Ted, you made it in. Thanks for coming. We're going to take a trip back to the height of the pandemic, 2020, May, when I started, well, it was 3 months after I started this channel, and I did my very first unboxing review with this Dewalt pole saw. And at the time, I opened it up and I thought, this is a really, really good tool. And you know what? I hadn't watched that video in a solid year. So I decided to go back and watch the video, and what I found was a guy who was 100 pounds heavier, which is cool. But I also found that some of my thoughts were the same and some of them were a little bit different. So hang in there. We're going to get into this stuff in just a second. So you guys all know who I am. For those of you who don't, or you're joining me for the tool review, or maybe you're in the live stream for the first time, I'm Toolman Tim. I live on the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada. I run a very successful handyman business here, and of course, if you've stumbled across my channel, you know what I do. If you want to know a little more about me, go to toolmantim.co, that's toolmantim.co, and you can check out all my social presences there. And most importantly, if you're looking for a solution to a problem, check out the Today's Tools section, because on there, what you're going to find is a whole list of products and tools that I use in my business that have either saved me money or made me money, to solutions like, hey, my kid spilt latex paint on the vinyl siding. How do I remove it? Or I got a really heavy Santa picture I need to hang on a wall above the lazy boy where I recline and watch baseball. How do I hang that without putting nails in the wall? There's a solution there for that too, so check it out. All right, guys. So like I said, I went back to a year ago and I watched my review, and I was a little quieter back then, but I took some notes, and the rain's coming, so you guys should enjoy hearing some of that on the roof of the workshop here. I took some notes on what my thoughts were, and I want to tell you how much more I have fallen in love with this Dewalt pole saw. You guys all know that I'm a Dewalt evangelist, but if there's a better product out there, I'll use it too. But this guy is the cat's ass. Absolutely love this thing. So when I started, I opened that thing up. You guys got to watch me unbox this tool for the very first time. And some of my first impressions were it was just a hair heavier than my old electric one. And I had a cheap little electric one. Ted says, anybody can unbox. I love the 1 year reviews. Thanks, Ted. I love you too. But yes, absolutely, 100%. I have put this bugger to its paces, through its paces, whatever you want to call it, for the last year. And like I said, when I got this guy, the first thing I thought was it's a little bit heavier than my little knockoff crappy tires, you guys watch my channel, electric one that I had. And yes, it was a little bit heavier. So, and it hasn't gotten any lighter in the last year. It's definitely, when you have this guy fully extended, This thing works, and the beauty of having heft in the head, and of course the drive motor is up here, is that it helps the weight pull the saw through the limb, and I love it. So it can actually be a little over aggressive. Another thought that I found when I was trimming that tree out front, which is still in pretty good shape actually, was that if you didn't have it bucked right up against these bucking teeth, I believe they call it, it's got so much power that it wants to dig those teeth in and it'll lock up. So you just have to be careful. Get it right up against the bucking teeth and then let the weight of this motor, of this tool, pull itself through the saw, or through the limb. So yeah, absolutely, the weight of it was really good. Now, of course, when you have an elderly lady who says, "Can you reach up to that limb right there?" and which requires me to have this fully extended, and then at the top of a 10-foot step ladder, I got this so that I wouldn't have to do anything dangerous, and all that happened was that now I can reach just that much higher with a 10-foot step ladder. So we've done it. It's hard on the shoulders, but if you're careful and take your time, it's good. You know, you shouldn't keep two hands on it. Sometimes I do it with one hand. Another thought that I had when I first started back a year ago was that this little beast had plenty of power. And you know what? It absolutely does. I've yet to find, if I put it up against if it has a nice sharp blade on it and I put it up against a nice big limb, this thing does everything you could ever imagine. This was the first tool that got me excited about lawn care with cordless tools. And you guys know I have gone all in because I was a gas tool guy before, but I'm not anymore. I mean, I am, but I've switched basically all my lawn care tools, as you know, have been over to Dewalt. And this guy has not let me down. So when I started with this, I also said that you need to be patient with bigger limbs, and it's true. I have cut through stuff that's about 6 inches high, or high. Yeah, that's a pretty short one. 6 inches thick. I've absolutely done that before. But honestly, 3 to 4 inches is about the max you're going to get through this easily. But it will, if you're patient, it will take the big limbs down. My biggest complaint on this guy was the aluminum handle. So you will see, this is the centerpiece right here. I could pretend like I'm going to try to break it, but you know, I'm really... Anyway, so my biggest complaint was I was figuring when all three of these pieces, so here is the handle with the switch on it, this is the middle piece, and this sucker right here is the long piece, the cutting piece. Anyway, my biggest complaint, of course, is that it felt like when I was cutting, there was a little bit of flex in it. And I thought, okay, this is going to be an issue over time. Well, all I can tell you is I've had this guy fully extended using it all the time, and this flex has never, ever been an issue. It's strong enough. It's really hard to appreciate. It's not perfectly round. It's ever so slightly off center, so a little bit squished, and that gives it the strength that you need. I pretty much hate, oh, darn it. Sorry, guys. If somebody can type that one again, I'll answer your question or just have fun with it. But anyway, so yes, the flexibility in that shaft has not been an issue whatsoever. It bounces a little bit, but I've never once felt like it was going to collapse in my hand. Unlike some other things that I've used, I will say, let me grab it right here since I'm talking to you. Fun things that happen while we're live. Anyway, this is the hedge trimmer accessory. I'm going to do another video on this down the road. But what this guy is, I love it except for this right here. See that plastic joint? Anyway, I'm not doing a hedge trimmer review, but what happens when it's fully extended is it flaps in the wind. Kind of like Gumby or one of them wacky waving arm inflatable men, that type of thing. Anyway, and like I said, be patient. Make sure it gets against the bucking teeth. If it's right against that, you won't have a problem cutting through it. So I've used this bugger for a year. It has made me, I don't want to say a ton of money, but it has really made me a lot of money. It's made my job way easier. Quick story, because I like to tell stories and it's my live stream and I can. But all of my close calls since I've been in business for myself have either come on a ladder or with a chainsaw. And one of the worst was on a ladder with a chainsaw. Before I even owned a pole saw, I decided it'd be a good idea to climb up a 20-foot cheap aluminum ladder and try to reach and cut some limbs. And I did it. And then there was that one more limb right over here that I thought, you know what? I'm going to reach that. And when I did, the whole ladder shifted, it rolled, and I jumped. Luckily, there was a retaining wall I landed on. Anyway, after that is the day I decided to get a pole saw. And I switched from the electric to this little jobby here. And it really, like if you are looking for a way to reach up and do some pruning, this is the guy. So, a few things that I have noticed after using this for a year. On my, where's my other guy? Right here. Real quick, show you this. It has the Toolless Adjuster on it. I have my issues with this chainsaw, but one thing I love is the Toolless Adjuster. I would love to have that on here. It's not. It has those little hex keys with the built-in little Allen key. However, I got to tell you, it must have to do with the shorter chain. I have never once had the chain skip. I've never had it jump off, and I've rarely even ever had to tighten it. Yeah, I know. No ladders or chainsaws. It's okay. Trust me. I don't do it anymore either. I've never ever had the chain kick off on this, and I'm sure it's to do with it being short. But I realized when I was watching the video, I seen that that tool was in the little blade cover. I've never had it off. So I've never had a need for it. I've used other tools to do it, but out on the job site, I've never needed to use it. Another pro tip for this guy, go to your local still dealer or whomever else you can get custom-made chains from. I had a carbide one made. I love their custom carbide teeth because I hate sharpening chains. It lasts about 3 to 4 times as long. And with this guy, as long as you don't accidentally tip it down and cut through some ground or some dirt, you won't have an issue. But I had one of them specially made, and I haven't sharpened it yet. Well, I mean, I had the original one, got dulled up real bad. I got the carbide one made, and it's still on there. Love to have an extra chain on hand because you just never know when you're going to frig it up, you're going to bust it up, you're going to do whatever, right? So anyway, go get a custom chain made because it's short. It wasn't real expensive. It's about twice as much as a normal chain, but it lasts 3 times as long, and it saves you in labor. So I like that quite a bit. So with this guy, like you saw in my video from a year ago, the learning curve is almost non-existent. That's what I love about this. It's a brand new tool. I'd rarely, well, when I got the electric one last year, I'd never used one before. And now I have this battery one. And again, I pulled it out of the box and I started digging away with it. And you can seriously buy one of these and go out and learn at a customer's job site, and they're not even going to know you're learning, because within 10 minutes, you're an expert on how it works. You're an expert on how it's balanced. And something my sister-in-law said the other day, and I never thought about this, is she said, all these Dewalt battery gear, love the fact that a man in Alberta and Canada and a man in South Florida, absolutely. Alberta and Florida, I just love this kind of situation. This is good. But my sister-in-law, she told me that she loved that the battery tools were great for women. She said she couldn't pull start, she couldn't get anything going. She just wasn't comfortable using gas gear. But she grabbed my Hedge trimmer and my chainsaw when we were over at the playground one day doing some maintenance work, and she just went right to town. She was super comfortable with it. Literally no learning curve. There's almost nothing can go wrong except for a dead battery. So what else? So a few other things. I've heard a few people mention, I don't know, see, we'll get that in there. Yes. Hey, Chicken Hawk, how are you? Love seeing you. So, we got 6 people in here tonight. So if you guys can see that filler cap, I'm going to hold it up there. Anyway, I've seen some complaints online that Dewalt has had some awful leaks in their oil reservoir caps. Now this one has been really good to me. Like, I mean really good. I've never had it leak, and I store it upside down, inside out, all the way around, and it's been good. That 60-volt chainsaw sitting over there, it's almost going to go on the list of items that I'm not real happy with. But that's another story for another day. I got to send it back for warranty work because the oiler's frigged up. But the oiler has worked great on this. This lid stays on really well. Something else I noticed early on, and it's been the case on every job that I've used this for since, is that the battery dies before you run out of oil. I use a 5 amp hour battery. I don't have any kicking around right now. There's some on the charger there, but I'm not going to make all the noise. The 5 amp hour battery, I have worked some big ass jobs, and I've only ever ran through the 5 amp hour battery once with it, because this isn't like a chainsaw. You don't have it running full tilt all the time. You know, yeah, and you're done. So anyway, yeah. Did you like my chainsaw noises? So yeah. Anyway, yeah. I've gone through one battery, and we've done a metric shit ton of trimming with this. But like I said, the battery runs out before, hit the like y'all, the battery runs out before the oil reservoir runs out, which is great. That's the same with gas chainsaws. Anything worth its weight is designed that way so that you're going to run out of gas before you run out of oil. Anyway, what else I got written down here? Yeah, like I said, this handle has been way sturdier than I absolutely thought it would be. It seems like it shouldn't be. The connectors, so they're, again, they go two ways. You can go this way or this way, but they're really snug when you put them in. They have the electrical connectors in there so that you get your, way down there, you get your trigger way down at the bottom, and then the feed head, the power is all up here. So it's been really good. Another thing is this is one of those really cool options for off-grid living. You guys know that I'm all in on Dewalt battery. But what I'm more all in on is the absolute using whatever battery system you have for redundancy. Number one, so you have stored power that you can tap into, but number two, using all the same tools, because then you don't have to have 2 or 3 systems, 2 or 3 points of failure. You can run your same batteries off the same platform constantly. And if you're in an off-grid situation, or you're a long ways away from being able to trim, to get gas or whatever it happens to be, these guys are great for that. So I wanted to, let's see if I got everything. Yeah, so another thing, if you guys have never used one of these little pole saw jobbies, they're awesome. And like I said, there's almost no learning curve, but the big thing, when you're doing a job like this, don't, and I'm sure a lot of you know it anyway, but don't cut more than you need to. Cut a little bit, trim a little bit, step back and look at it, like the crooked thumb and the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But seriously, trim a little, step back and look. If you're happy with it, stop there, because you can't put limbs back on. You can always take more off. But if you need a little more, take a little more. Train's going by in case you hear it. Then go to the other side and look to make sure it's balanced, trim a little more, and then cut back. Cut a little more, and then step back. And that's, take your patience with it. Take a few minutes. So there's that meme where the handyman has his son in the truck and he drives around and he's like, hey, look, I worked at that house. And hey, look, I worked at this house. Picked up the brand Dewalt compatible 4 amp hour battery for $20, and so far it's working great. Off-brand. You got to do a review on that, Chicken Hawk. I want to hear about it. So whenever I take my son for a drive and we go by the condos over there that I just trimmed up the trees, I'm like, hey, Mac, look at those trees. They trimmed up really nice, didn't they? So anyway, I'm a geek. I like trimming trees, and this thing really does it. So I wanted to tell you guys a few of the jobs real quick that I've done with this that have made me some money. Normally it's packed in with a whole bunch of other jobs, so I try not to charge by the hour. I try to charge by the job, but this thing has made me a lot. So there's a little town just outside of here. I'm actually getting ready to head up to see one of my favorite old couples up there. They have 400 feet of hedges, and the first year we did it, I did it all by myself, my God. Anyway, with the gas still. Last year there was 3 of us, and we did it all with the Dewalt battery, and it worked great. But they hired us for this huge, and I mean huge, overgrown, I don't even know what to call it, an alder patch, a tree patch, whatever it was. And I had to weave my way in, reach up and cut it down and cut it down and cut it down. It was just, it wasn't a miserable job. It was just a long job. It was one of the hottest jobs, but it paid really well. And when we must have filled my truck probably 7 or 8 times to take it back to the brush pile. And again, this was the only job that I ever ran out the battery on. So, I mean, big jobs, little jobs. Just recently, another senior, you'll see a pattern here. She called me up and she had limb rot. I don't know if you guys have seen limb rot before, but it's that black kind of growth on limbs, and it needs to be cut off before, it'll spread. So she called me over. I aerated her lawn, and I selectively cut that out. And this guy works really good for that. I will say, it's not a negative, but the way it's designed with the motor, just like that, to try to get it up and in and around branches can be a little tricky sometimes, but it is small enough that you're able to do it. So I was able to get up, cut out the limb rot for the lady, and get the job done. She was happy. It was pretty cool. I had all these little pieces of, I don't even know what they look like. They look like burnt marshmallow on the stick. But one thing you make sure you do, you guys probably know this, but bleach your gear when you're done, because if you don't, the next customer's job you go to, that limb rot is going to end up going on their tree too, and you don't want that. So let's see. Third one, I think it was the very first job I actually did for a customer. One of my favorite. She lives about a 40-minute drive away from here. I was a little nervous to go and do it because, like I said, I hadn't really done it before. And she has a beautiful, beautiful property. She has her own grid road out here in Alberta. Every mile, there's a gravel road because everything's flat, right? So every single mile, and she has basically an entire mile. Well, maybe it was a half a mile. Anyway, I hate to exaggerate. And she mows everything Don't buy the Dewalt Power Cleaner, y'all. Thanks, Ted. Also, real quick, don't buy the Harbor Freight truck bed unloader. I bent the shit out of that today, and you're going to see a review on that. But anyway, that's another story. So she has all these nice trees that grow down, but they smack her in the face while she's using her ride-on mower. She keeps the property beautiful. And actually, Becky and I went up. It was a lot of fun. We spent the afternoon trimming. Hi, James. And we just trimmed along. We drove along. She'd drive in the ditch. I'd trim, throw them on the truck. And every farm here has a burn pile or a brush pile. They usually throw cow carcasses and weird stuff in there too. But anyway, we just trimmed along and made really good money. Honestly, it wasn't even an afternoon. It was about 2 hours. I made $200. I maybe underpriced it a little, but I was really happy with it. I was already on my way to another job. She called and said, "Can you do it?" Sure, why not? And of course, like I said, the condos, they're an elderly whole bunch. There's 8 properties all connected. And they're just some nice, beautiful maples and things there. I went and just before they started budding, I went and trimmed all the tops off and trimmed the bottoms off so they don't slap me in the head when I drive the zero turn on there. And they look gorgeous. I got to toot my own horn, right? Excuse me. But yeah, so those were some of the fun ones. And you know what? We have an incredible guy in my town who is a tree trimmer by trade. He has bucket trees. He has all the gear. And I'm never going to be a professional tree trimmer. But you know what I do? I fill a niche here in my town. There's a lot of people who don't want to spend a metric shit ton of money to hire a guy with a bucket to go up and limb a whole bunch of trees. And he also doesn't want to take the time to do the little jobs. And we're good friends. We chat all the time, which is great. That's the way it should be. You guys want to make friends with your competition because we're not really competition. And I do the small stuff. And like I said, I'm never going to be a professional tree trimmer, but it's another service in my bucket as a handyman or as a landscaper that can make me money. And this guy right here, honestly, if someone's looking for an incredible side hustle opportunity, there's a lot of people who need a little bit of tree trimming done. And if you live in a big enough area with enough decorative trees, a hedge trimmer and a pole saw can be all you need to get a real successful side hustle or full-time gig going. You can make yourself some serious money with it. And this guy has not let me down. So 1 year later, absolutely this thing still has the Toolman Tim seal of approval. If anything, I've fallen in love with it even more. It's like being married to it, you know. I use it all the time. I look forward to throwing it in the truck. I look forward to having fun with it. I look forward to playing with it. Man, does that ever sound bad. Anyway, we'll move on from that. So anyway, like I said, we're recording this live for anybody who's watching this in the future, the millions of you who will. But if anybody's here live now, anybody's got any questions about it, what's a metric ton? 1,000 kilograms, 2,200 pounds? It's literally, I know you're being a smartass, Ted, but it's literally, now a metric shit ton, that's another story. That's just one of them Canadian sayings that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but we say it anyway, like a brick shit house or, you know. Anyway, but yeah, so this has been a beast to me. It's been a really good tool to me. I've really enjoyed it. So anyway, that's it for me, guys. Like I said, if you're watching this on a recording, take a minute and share it. I'd absolutely appreciate it on your social media platform of choice. And guys, this has been the biggest crowd I've had for a live stream yet. I thought this was something super original. I'm going to try to do it once a month. I'm going to go back and pick my most popular video because, like I said, it's been 1 full year since I did my very first tool time review. And oh yeah, this guy right here, I must have did something right. Kudos on the 4,000 hours a day, Tim. Thanks, Joseph. Yes. So I've officially hit 4,000 hours, but 100 of those were paid for ads that I ran of my trailer. So I had to wait. So by tomorrow, I will hit, so unofficially I'm at 4,000. By tomorrow I'll have 4,000 and it'll be a monetized channel. So it's a lot of fun. I never thought I'd grow like this. And thanks for this community, guys. This has been too much fun. I love it. I get emails from people all the time saying I started my handyman business because of what you were talking about. And you know what? It's nothing I do. I just share my success. That doesn't sound right. I share what I've done so that other people can do better than I can. I tell people all the time, in my town, I wish there was like 5 or 6 more of me because there's enough business and enough niches that people can fill to make money. So remember that, because man, I'm telling you, there's never a morning I get up that I don't love to go out and do what I do. I'm my own boss. I make my own schedule. I make pretty good money at it. And now I get to talk to you guys about tools because my wife's tired of listening to me. Right on. Ted said Joseph is awesome. And Joseph is awesome. He's been with me. I think he's one of my first followers, and he's been one of my cheerleaders ever since. So Joseph, you know I love you, but I really do. You're too good to me. So like I said, guys, anybody who's watching this in the future, take a minute and run by toolmantim.co. That's important. I want you to know who I am, what I do, what I stand for, and where I'm coming from. And you can connect with me there, message me there, and check out the Today's Tool section. Like I said, also important. And remember, subscribe to this channel. You guys have helped me grow it to 1,350 subscribers today from 0 just over a year ago, and it's been awesome. So thanks. So anyway, guys, I see somebody else just dropped in, so thanks for coming. But a promise to you guys, unless things get absolutely crazy, I want to keep these live streams to under half an hour. So if there's no questions, nobody else has got anything, what they used to say, all hearts clear. Anyway, as always, oh, awesome, Tim. I'm enjoying watching. Thanks, Millis. I appreciate it. Millis, I called you He's an animal with 3 to 4 videos a week. Thanks, Joseph. I love it. This was awesome. Thanks, guys, for dropping in. Come visit me in the workshop anytime. It's just too much fun. I love doing it. You know what? I do my videos in bulk, so I'm able to do it. I will say, real quick, secret between you and I am actually considering so my limit is 5 videos a week. Hey, who bought? I can't total. Yeah, good. I'm glad you got it. The pole saw. Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. But so what I'm thinking about doing is doing away with my Friday growing series and combining it with my Monday money making minute so that I can make this live stream one of my 5 videos a week, because I want to do 5 videos a week. But I love Sunday night seems to work for everybody. So thank you for that. I love the content or the audience I've had in here tonight. It's great. That's not a for sure thing. But if I keep knocking it out of the park with the live streams, maybe we'll do that. And I've mentioned it before, but I'd love once a month, Chicken Hawk, if you're still in here, I've been using StreamYards, which I just been testing it. Me and my girls have been here in the house, and it's friggin' awesome. So we can do up to 4 people live streaming at once on screen. So Chicken Hawk, if you're interested, Joseph, if you're interested, I'd love to get you guys in on this at some point. And we can get a topic from the audience, or we can just get together and shoot the shit, but I'd love to have something on the go just once a month where we can do, like, I don't know if you guys have seen it. A lot of us are affiliated with the Survival Podcast, and Jack has got another podcast he does called Unloose the Goose, where he gets together with a bunch of other podcasters. Anyway, they're a much bigger deal than any of us are, but that's okay. I would just love to get together and share our collective wisdom, maybe problem shoot, what am I talking about? Problem solve or troubleshoot, whatever happens to be out there. Or we can pick a topic. Anyway, so once a month, I'd love to do something like that if we got game or if anybody has any suggestions of other people. But that's what I'm thinking. So it's not that I don't love doing my growing series, but my personal limit is I'm going to do 5 videos a week. I don't want to get into doing 6. And I feel that the growing and the money making minute are kind of redundant. And of all of them, that's probably the one. Going to try to make them all from now on. Thanks, Ted. Ted is a huge supporter. Anytime I see a comment with emojis, I know it's Ted because I love it. I got so many of you guys that are always messaging me. And now, here's something else. I know. Anyway, I get people messaging me now asking for recommendations on tools. And I had a guy message me yesterday looking for a recommendation on a bench planer. Hoping to get some good internet to my shop over the next couple months and add live streams to my regular content also. Joseph, you absolutely have to. And I don't have great internet out here, but it's working. It's good enough for me. So, but yes, anyway, this is just a lot of fun. I enjoy it. We got 10 people in here tonight. This is like 3 times as much. Would really enjoy being on the one with you too, Tim. Lots of fun. Yeah. So if you guys have any suggestions for what we can talk about, I would love that too. But like I said, once a month, we're going to do a 1 year later tool review. We'll do a podcast supergroup. No, anyway. Oh, Facebook is sending me an AI message asking me if I bought something from somebody. Anyway, don't worry about that. So yeah, we're going to do that. We'll do a podcast super group. Once a month, I'll do a social media recap where I share with you all the best questions I get. And that's where I was, and I couldn't remember, so I figured if I kept talking, the answer would come to me like Michael Scott. But yeah, so I had a message yesterday. Guy asked me a good recommendation for a bench planer. And my antique Delta has served me well, but spoiler alert, I'm not much of a woodworker. I'm a handyman. I don't spend much time in my workshop, except when I'm in here talking to you guys. But so I didn't have a real good recommendation. He asked me what I thought of the Dewalt, and of course I wanted to lie to him and tell him it was great because it's Dewalt. But I messaged Buddy. So if you guys know Buddy from Bud DIY, I don't know how to pronounce that, Buddy Dempsey anyway, came in loud and clear. So I asked Buddy what his recommendation was, because I just did that collab video and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, he should have his own show on PBS. Like you know, the Saturday afternoon woodworking shows that PBS has always had. He's so good at it. Anyway, he said yes. Seems like the standard. I don't know what you'd think, Joseph, but his idea was that he loved the Dewalt and he recommended it. So I sent that along to the the audience member. Sorry, I can't switch mindset between handyman and content creation sometimes. But I sent that along. He was super grateful. And that's the really cool thing about this, is the connections we all make, the community we all make, so we can interact, share each other's collective wisdom. And I love that. I just love it. I never thought that I would get to this point with the YouTube channel, and it's been awesome. Like I'm doing better with it, and I cannot believe, anyway, yeah, I could gush about you guys, but there is seriously, and I know I've probably said this before, there's not a day, that's the wrong way to say it. Every single time I get a new subscriber, I still get a smile. It won't matter when I'm at 100,000 subscribers, I will still get a smile. My wife loves this, and I have an incredible wife too. I know I've told you this before, but I mean, who would tell, her soon-to-be 40-year-old husband come to her and said, honey, I want to be a YouTuber. The same guy who used to make fun of YouTubers. And sure, go ahead, hun. As long as it, well, she didn't even say anything, but I'm sure what she meant was, as long as it doesn't interfere with your business time, go right ahead. And I've set a goal. I love doing this, and I would probably do a few videos for free, but I wouldn't, my idea is that, of course, I want this to be another income. And so I am, my goal is to make $1,000 a month doing content creation. I'm not even close yet, but I'm a lot closer than I was 15 months ago. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot. And like I said, ways to support me, you can watch my videos over on Odyssey. They pay me in crypto there, although the library coin's getting low. You're going to get bigger, brother. Thanks, Ted. And the big one is to go by toolmantim.shop, which is the tool of the day section. And then if you just do your Amazon shopping as normal from there, anything you buy in the next 48 hours supports my content. So thanks, guys. That's it for me for now. I'm going to end it there, or I'll just end up rambling, and I'll have no voice for the next couple of days. But it's May 2-4 weekend up here in Canada, which is supposedly the Queen's birthday. I guess that's a big deal, which means I worked my ass off all last week, so I could take this weekend off and work my ass off for myself. So anyway, that's it for me, guys. As always, you know what it is. Stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.